I'm sure all you young kids have heard recent news about influencer Sydney Towell. Okay, her recent death, kind of out of nowhere. She died of cholangiocarcinoma, which is a cancer, apparently, of the bile duct. Okay, so how could this happen to a young 26-year-old like this? Okay, well, remember, everything around you is an impulse being transmitted through your nervous system. Okay. And now, remember inhibitory and exciting signals. There's two differences, right? So she was receiving too many inhibitory signals that affected. These are the three nerves connected to the gallbladder and the bile duct. So the vagus nerve, okay, that's digestion. That's cranial nerve number 10. Okay. Then we have the celiac plexus and the phrenic nerve. The phrenic nerve is part of the autonomic nervous system, or then the sympathetic or thoracolumbar system. Okay, and there's your phrenic nerve right there between C3 and C5. That's cervical plexus. Okay, and then what else was she? Where else was she probably receiving these signals? Well, out of the first 6 cranial nerves, okay, the optic nerve, oculomotor, trochlear, okay, and the abducens, they all have to do with the eye, okay? And then again, her ear, the vestibulocochlear nerve, okay? And she was probably receiving too many of these right here. Okay, which is an impulse, inhibitory impulse right here. This is what all cell phones use. It's called radio frequency or radio waves. Okay, and I don't think people realize how powerful they actually are. These waves are information that can literally be sent to the portion of your brain to be stored for future use. Okay, now there's something called thermal death point. Okay, when you raise your body temperature well above the regulated 98.5 degrees it's normally at, that they want you to keep it at, once you start raising your body temperatures for longer than 10 minutes, it's called thermal death point. Okay, I'm talking like 110 degrees or higher, your body temperature, either through a sauna, steam room, or a long hot shower. Okay, where you're sweating profusely. That's how you erase this information that gets stored in your brain. Okay, and any foreign antibody like nanotechnology can also be erased. Think of it like it has a very low melting point, malleable metal. Okay, that goes to your body, right? That's what nanobots are, and you can end up melting it out of your body. Your body will finally do its job by doing the correct thing and recognizing it as a foreign antibody. But again, thermal death point is where you reach your body temperature well above 110 degrees for a minimum of longer than 10 minutes. Okay? And this helps kill all the foreign antibodies that at 98.5 degrees your body recognizes as this is normal. Okay? Shout out to, Sydney Towell and her family. I don't know her. I don't know who she was, but it just popped up on Facebook that this girl, she was a young influencer that died. And again, these signals, these are all from the Masons and Stones, also termed Radio Row. So if you've had a young daughter or son or a loved one even die from any form of cancer, all cancer comes from these radio frequency signals. Okay, and people find that hard to believe, but that's simply what your body operates on is radio frequency signals or radio waves. It's called brain waves, or some call them axons, dendrites, neurons. There are a whole bunch of different names for them, but they're typically like waves that help wire your body. And when you get a bunch of artificial ones like these, it can manipulate your body. They can be inhibitory. That's why they're called inhibitory impulses. Okay. Then we'll talk about the brain, the encephalon next.